When most hear social studies, we picture heavy textbooks and drawing maps. But inside a preschool classroom, the reality looks a little bit different. For a 3-year-old, social studies has nothing to do with history. It is entirely about learning how to exist in a community right now, in the present. Think of the early childhood classroom as a functioning mini-city. Every day, these toddlers are actively practicing how to be citizens of their very first society. Before a child can understand how to be a citizen of the wider world, they have to master a much closer territory. They have to learn how to be a citizen of their own body and mind. This journey from an individual focus to a community member follows specific stages of psychosocial development that every child must navigate. This chart breaks down Erikson's stage theory. In the early childhood and play age rows, you see the exact internal conflicts young children face. They are constantly wrestling with the desire for autonomy and initiative, while trying to avoid feelings of shame and guilt. Successfully working through these early internal struggles develops a sense of will and purpose. Those traits are the psychological building blocks required for all future participation in society. Educators call this internal landscape the affective domain. Simply put, this is the study of a child's developing feelings and their overall sense of self. As we see in this diagram, the affective domain is built on a hierarchy. A child's general sense of self is supported by their self-awareness, their emotional competence, and their self-efficacy. Together, these elements determine whether a child develops positive or negative self-esteem. That second item, self-awareness, starts out very concrete. A child learns to identify observable physical traits, like their hair color or eye color. As they grow, that awareness expands to include abstract internal qualities, like recognizing that they are a kind person or a good friend. Then we have self-efficacy. This image shows a toddler intently focused on opening a small box. That concentration is self-efficacy in action, the internal belief a child develops that they are capable of doing what they set out to do. When a child builds a strong track record of small, successful actions, they begin to see themselves as competent. That internal confidence dictates how securely they will eventually interact with the rest of their mini-city. Once a child begins to understand themselves, they have to tackle emotional competence. This is the ability to recognize emotions within themselves and eventually in the people around them. This emotion wheel highlights how children must learn a highly nuanced spectrum of feelings. They move beyond simple labels like happy or sad and learn to identify specific emotional states like being antsy, jittery, or frustrated. Identifying the feeling is step 1. Step 2 is self-regulation. Think of this as the brain's internal brake pedal. It is the cognitive function that stops a child from acting out physically on their first emotional impulse. Educators actively train this brake pedal. When a child gets upset, teachers provide them with specific sample scripts. They give the child the exact vocabulary needed to express their frustration with words instead of their hands. Replacing physical aggression with verbal communication is a mandatory prerequisite. A mini-society cannot function until its citizens can safely tell each other what they need. Now, the child's focus expands outward from me to we. This is the social domain, the space where individuals learn to coexist. Navigating this space requires a specific set of observable skills. Children must practice sharing classroom materials, waiting for their turn, and starting to recognize the perspectives and needs of their peers. The stakes in this domain are high. Data shows that socially skilled children experience tangible, long-term academic success. They participate more in class, have fewer absences, and earn higher grades. A toddler learning to navigate and resolve a peer conflict is practicing the earliest, most fundamental form of civic negotiation. Teachers don't impart these social studies lessons through lectures. They use a method called inquiry-based learning, where the education is driven entirely by the children's own play, questions, and interests. Here is an architectural layout of a preschool dramatic play center. In this scenario, the children have set up a pretend grocery store, complete with a cash register, empty food boxes, and paper bags. If we use X-ray vision to look past the toys, we can see the underlying academic lesson. By adopting specific roles, like the cashier, the bagger, and the customer, these children are learning the basics of economic systems and human interdependence. Even the simple act of waiting in line at the pretend checkout teaches a critical concept. Following the store's rules is active, real-time practice for social responsibility and democratic living. These highly structured, sophisticated play sessions function as a laboratory for future civic engagement. Making all of this work requires immense skill. Early childhood educators serve as the mayors, architects, and daily guides of this complex mini-society. Professionals manage this using the pyramid model, a systematic approach to support social-emotional development. The broad base represents the high-quality environments and nurturing relationships every child receives. Moving up the tiers, teachers deploy targeted supports for children who struggle to navigate the group. Effective early childhood teaching is almost entirely proactive. By intentionally designing the environment and the routines in advance, teachers prevent conflicts before they happen. There is one final requirement for a successful mini-SETI: culturally responsive teaching. This practice ensures every young citizen feels they belong. The concept is simple. A classroom must act as both a mirror, where a child can clearly see their own heritage reflected, and a window, where they can look out and learn about the lives of others. Teachers execute this with careful intention. It means curating diverse books, providing culturally varied play materials, and prioritizing the correct pronunciation of every child's name to validate their identity. As seen here with the globe resting inside a classroom, the lessons learned in these early years stretch far beyond the walls of the school. The local environment is simply a training ground for the global community. A child figuring out how to fairly share a blue block today is building the skill set required to navigate tomorrow. It is the critical foundation for a cooperative, empathetic, and democratic world.